This is going to be part 2 of the Zed Creators 3.0 reviews. If you didn't already, go click on the pop-out banner. It'll take you to my review of Sun-Kissed Island. Today, we're going to get into the second one. So just a recap, the Zed Creators are Ross Carlos's Sun-Kissed Island. We've also got Justin Copeland's Seamless Soul. And we've got Jordan, the Nigerian Giant's Ibieta. Today's fragrance that we're going to go over is Seamless Soul by Justin Copeland and Stay Fresh Productions. This one has seen a little bit of controversy since its release, but before we get into that, which I will unpack and share some of my personal opinions on the matter, we will do our full review, our note breakdown, answer all the questions. So let's get into this. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Nick, also known as Scent Nick. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for the continued support. If you are new here, I create content mainly in the form of detailed and objective fragrance reviews. I make the occasional list. If that's something that interests you, please consider hitting the like button, dropping me a comment, and hitting the subscribe button to join the community. And now let's get back to that review. So when I first started this channel about a week ago, I had one goal, and that was to be objective, honest, and open about how I felt about fragrances, even if it meant that it may not be the most stellar review, or it could potentially hurt someone's feelings. What I'm doing here is I'm telling the truth and going to share honest opinions, realizing that it may get to where I don't receive a free product to review or anything like that, and that's okay, because what I'm trying to do here is gain trust and be honest and open. So we're going to unpack some of those honest feelings that I've had about this fragrance after the review, because first and foremost, I need to be objective. And this is actually the second time I've shot this video, because the first time I shot it, I didn't feel right about just how I presented things. So today you're getting an objective review, and I will share my opinions afterwards. Those opinions really don't play into the rating. So we're gonna get into this. So just like the rest of the line, this retails for $155 for a 60 milliliter bottle. The perfumer of Seamless Soul is Vincent Kaczynski, who was the same perfumer that did Brass Hand Soul and Second Soul, both of which were incredible and kind of groundbreaking fragrances that Justin released. And that kind of plays into some opinions you'll hear later in this video. The scent profile of this fragrance is going to be an aromatic, spicy, and woody style fragrance. It's a very wonderful and kind of simple fragrance. The opening, you're gonna get a nice fresh opening with notes of cardamom, anise, timber pepper, grapefruit, lemon, and apple. That opening already is really pleasant. You get an invigorating bit of spices. You get warm spices, you get cool spices, making it fresh and aromatic. You get a zing of citrus, and then you get a really gorgeous, juicy green apple, which sticks around for a nice bit, and it's very pleasant. In the heart, things really start to take off, and you start to get into the soul of the fragrance. You get fir balsam, incense, cedarwood, and magnolia. When I say you get the soul of the fragrance, that's kind of where the soul DNA from the previous 2 releases comes into play in this fragrance. It's kind of masked behind the rest of the fragrance, but when you really smell it, you'll detect that it's still there, and that was an amazing experience to have, because the first wearing I didn't get it, the second wearing I did get it, and I was like, there it is. So you get this for a little while. It is a beautiful kind of green coniferous bit. You get the nice woody spiciness from the cedar. The incense is subtle, not giving too much smoke, but it is enough to give it a little bit of this mystical allure. And then the magnolia is a kind of dry white floral that adds this creaminess, that adds this rounding out facet. It's very nice. Now in the base, you're gonna get amberwood, vetiver, moss, tonka, vanilla, and musk. And again, this really is a fantastic base for this fragrance because it all goes through seamlessly. Haha, pun intended. So the way this translates, the amberwood is the most prevalent thing, in my opinion. It is this synthetic molecule. It is a spicy kind of oriental style wood, and it's prevalent. The vetiver is subtle. It blends perfectly with the moss to create that kind of damp, dark green, earthy, moist feeling. It's very good. Moss does a very good job of pairing with the apple and the rest of the fragrance. The tonka and the vanilla do an amazing job of giving this fragrance richness, some sweetness, some character. Vanilla being on the sweeter side, tonka being on the spicier hay-like and more masculine side. And the musk is there to do musky things, giving it powdery warmth. It's not powdery, but that's what musk does, give some tenacity. It's awesome. So rounding it all out, this is when things start to go a little controversial, we'll say. And this is where the community has been saying some interesting things. I'll explain kind of my experiences. The blend as a whole does kind of present itself as greenly, mixed with, in my opinion, a little bit of the Bleu de Chanel DNA, which on my last wearing, that's when I really started to pick that up, especially with the amberwood. It's a very pleasant wearing. It's just kind of eyebrow raising. You're like, that's not what I expected. So you kind of get a blend of 3 fragrances, but we're gonna put that aside for now and get into the questions. Is this original? To me, maybe not the most original, just being completely blunt, because there are similarities to other fragrances. The audience for this is definitely masculine, and I think this can be worn by any age. I think it's completely appropriate. The performance, I'll be real, I was pretty disappointed with. For me, it projects for about 30 minutes to maybe an hour, and then it's a skin sit, and I lose it in about 5 to 6 hours. With the previous releases, you got a decent bit of performance and longevity. This one is one that you're gonna wanna reapply throughout the day. And I'm not opposed to that because it is a really nice scent. As far as seasons go, I think this is a great all year rounder. I don't think any season really sticks out above the others for when to wear this. The fact that this is such a well-rounded fragrance and kind of blue in nature, it does make itself versatile enough to be worn all year round. Occasions, literally any, I find it office safe. I think this is a good daily wear. It's great. Now I mentioned that I shot this video twice. Here's the thing, the rating did not change from video to video. My rating for this is gonna be a 7.2, and I'm gonna start unpacking as to why this is that. So keep in mind, a 7.2 is not bad. I think some people think that a 7 is just meh. 7 on my scale is above average. I do find this to be a very nice fragrance. I actually quite enjoy the scent profile. It's very enjoyable. Now, it would get higher if maybe it was a little bit more original and the performance was just a little bit better, but overall it is still an above average fragrance and one that I'm happy to have in the collection. Now let's get on to some of those personal opinions. And remember that these are personal opinions. These are my thoughts. You can take them or leave them as you wish. Now, I can't speak for Justin and no one can. Justin is probably one of, if not my favorite content creator out there. I have been following him for years. I trust his taste, his opinions. He does a very good job of staying objective and he's just got good taste. So I can't speak for him as to what his inspirations were, as to what he was trying to accomplish with this fragrance, but I will say I was disappointed when I smelled so much of a similarity to Greenlee. It was a little disappointing, but I do find this a lot better than Greenlee. I think part of the disappointment that's at play here is the past releases of Brass and Soul and Second Soul were so stellar. They were incredible. They are cult favorites in the community. And then this one came out, and like I said, it's not a bad fragrance. It's just so different and so safe that it felt almost a miss. Now, this is not in any way to slam him, to slam Zaharoff. This is not the point of this. This is me being real. And at the end of the day, if I can't be real, if I'm just going to say, hey, it's a great fragrance and say that there's nothing wrong with it, then I'm not doing my job here. And the whole point of me sharing my opinions here is just to be constructive, to be helpful. A real friend is not afraid to say hard truths. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Like I said when I first started this YouTube, I'm here to provide real feedback, something that companies and people can take and actually do something with. If all we're ever doing is scratching each other's backs and saying, oh, this is a great release, then we're not really being constructive, productive, helpful. So with that all said, this is still a very good release. It's not my favorite from the lineup. and I think this is one a lot of people were expecting to be the best of the lineup. So with all that said, I would love to know what have been your experiences with Seamless Sole. Do you love it? Do you have opinions? I'm happy to hear it in the comments below. We're going to keep this positive, constructive, and not a place where we're belittling each other. So if you all enjoyed that review, please consider hitting the like button, dropping a comment below, and joining the community by hitting subscribe. We're here to do some great things. So thank you for the continued support, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.